Welcome back to another episode of Every Day is Saturday, where we give you the latest and greatest in college football. I'm Kellen Voss.
And I'm Jerod Fattal, filling in for Mike Mahaffy.
Let's get right into it here, Jerod. Michigan had a really big win this weekend, just blowing out the Wisconsin Badgers.
I loved it. And the thing that I love more than Michigan winning is the fact that Shea Patterson, he came out with, not only did he burst off a big, 81-yard run, I think, right off the bat, but the fact that he brought out the arm sleeve.
Yeah.
The fact that, in my eyes, the fact that he put on the arm sleeve made him 10 times better of a quarterback.
He just makes him just so much. He makes him look cooler in the pocket. And if it gives him more confidence, I say keep rolling with it. Honestly, it was great to see a win like this from a Michigan team that especially has been criticized for not being able to win big games, but to come out at home and beat a ranked Wisconsin team just like they did. Again, 320 yards rushing. That's pretty hard to beat.
Exactly.
Great job offensively. Really. Not a lot of struggles at any point for Michigan, and this is obviously a great sign of things to come if you're a Michigan fan.
Now, do you think? See, me as a Michigan fan, I'm all in. I'm all in on this win. But is Wisconsin actually good? Do you think we could look back on this and at the end of the season and Wisconsin's got 4 or 5 losses? I think it's possible.
I think that's definitely possible, but I think for the moment, with the reputation that Michigan currently has in terms of not being able to win big games, I think this can indeed count as a big game that you can win. Just because not only did you beat a ranked Wisconsin team, but you beat them by so much and really had control of the game from start to finish. I think you can see this as a great team win for Harbaugh and the guys, and you can use this as a momentum builder as later on in the season.
Yeah, and you saw it with did you see Chase Winovich's comments? He only had 3 tackles during the game.
Yeah, but he makes the team better.
Exactly.
I saw a preview on ESPN. They had the mid-season All-American team, and he was the starting defensive end there. He just makes the team so much better all around.
And he kind of started the whole mantra that I think we're going to be seeing, over the next couple weeks, the whole revenge tour. It got me going. I'm not even on the team. It got me going.
Yeah, so. Yeah. I'm excited to see what this future holds for the team. And then a bit of a shocker for the Michigan State game. After losing Northwestern last week, they actually went on the road to beat the Penn State Nittany Lions 21-17. Who saw that coming?
No one saw it coming. I mean, it was a 14-point spread, but this is just classic D'Antonio. And I have to put this out before I get too much into and we're obviously going to talk about Michigan State preview.
Absolutely.
How I would categorize myself as a fan is I'm more of a State hater than I am a Michigan fan.
Right.
I would rather Michigan State lose all their games than Michigan win every game. So with that said, I actually love that Michigan State won this game.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be a classic. Pride comes before the fall, possibly next week with Michigan.
Right. It kind of plays into the whole little brother mantra that Michigan fans love to bring up. But again, it's better to beat Michigan State when they're good and when it comes from a Michigan fan. And this Michigan State team, I really can't get a good read on them this season because, again, we talked about it previously. They lost Arizona State early on to Herm Edwards' name I couldn't remember last week. Lost to Northwestern last week, but then come to beat the Nittany Lions on the road. I don't know what to make of this team. They seem inconsistent. They have bursts of beating, obviously, a top 10 team like Penn State, but their downsides is they can lose to unranked teams like Northwestern and Arizona State, really. So I really don't have a good read in this.
They've been plagued with injury, I think, is part of it. You've seen it.
Yeah.
LJ Scott's been out. I mean, they literally are starting Ladarius Jefferson. He was a quarterback at Muskegon last year. Now he's starting running back for Michigan State with
crazy.
LJ Scott out. But you saw it. It's a different team than what we're used to with D'Antonio. I mean, Lewerke threw the ball 52 times.
Yeah,
against Penn State.
That's definitely not a normal thing for Lewerke and the Michigan State offense.
They did give up a ton of rushing yards against Penn State. That is one thing I noticed. I think their lead cow back for Penn State. I'm blanking on his name right now.
Miles Sanders.
Yeah, didn't he have 170 yards?
Yeah, 162 yards and a touchdown. He had a really good game on the ground, and Michigan State was still able to pull out the victory.
So like we said, it would keep harping because it's just such a big week for Michigan State. I think
absolutely
it's a burn the boats game for both teams. It's a season maker for Michigan. It's a season maker for Michigan State. So that's why I just think it's going to be such a big game coming up right here down the stretch. So how do you honestly see that one going?
You're going to hear this take all over the airwaves on local sports talk radio this week. But honestly, if Jim Harbaugh, if you want to keep your job here at Michigan, you have to perform in games like this, especially with the momentum coming from beating a Wisconsin team. Even though I believe the game is in East Lansing, correct?
Yeah.
The game is in East Lansing. Yep. You have to come out and you have to just dominate from get-go. If you want a chance to get to the playoff, if you want a chance to get a good bowl game, if you want a chance to retain that Michigan greatness, that aura that's been around the program for so long, you have to show up in big games like this. Now, in terms of prediction-wise, I haven't seen Michigan play well in big games, especially on the road. And with the momentum that the Sparties got from beating Penn State, I wouldn't be shocked to see Michigan State pull the upset here.
Yeah, and what was surprising to me is that Michigan actually opened as 7.5 point favorites, which I didn't think it was going to be that. I kind of thought it was going to be around 6 points or so.
Right.
But the big tragedy that I have to note before I even get into like the analytics of the game is the fact that it's a noon kick.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's going to be a rough day for kids who want to tailgate, who actually want to.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, that's just brutal. That's got to be at least at 3:30.
But Michigan has shown that they do play better at noon games just because they're so used to playing in noon games. Like it's been more of a newer thing, I believe, for Michigan teams to play night games. So I think that kind of an environment will be good for the players themselves. I think it'll be a matter of if Shea Patterson can keep the momentum going and help lead this team to a potential victory.
And another thing with just Shea Patterson, it would make my day if he came out with a visor against Michigan State.
Oh, my God.
If he comes out with a visor,
Maybe
they're
double
winning by
arm
2.
sleeve.
Yeah.
Maybe 2 of them. That would be great.
2 arm sleeves and a visor. But I think a couple of the big things to know is LJ Scott, is he going to be healthy?
That's
is
gonna be
Rashawn
huge.
Gary, is he going to be healthy?
Yeah, exactly. It'd be great to see both those guys be happy because you want to see both teams at full strength just to get the best possible game out there, really.
I think so. Yeah, I think so too.
What
And
is your
it's
prediction for the game, by the way?
I'm a ride or die Michigan guy, so
Yeah.
I'm probably picking this more with my heart
Right.
than I am with my head. But I think Michigan's going to win. I honestly, I do not think that at 7.5 points, I don't think they're going to win by 2 scores.
Right.
I think it's at most they're winning by a touchdown. If I had to make a guess, I'm going to say they're going to win by 3 or so, or maybe 1. Like, it's just going to be a really close game.
I think
That's
it's
all
for
see
sure going to be a close game. I see Michigan State pulling it out in the end because, again, I just don't trust this Michigan team in terms of being able to pull out close games, especially on the road, especially under Harbaugh. But, yeah, Jim, if you're watching the show, prove to me that you can win big games like this. Come on now. But just looking more from a national aspect, just touching a few key things here. LSU blew out the Georgia Bulldogs 36-16. Big LSU. I've been promoting LSU on this show week after week, and they keep showing up for me. Dominated against the Georgia Bulldogs, made the number 2 team in the country look like a JV football squad. Just a really good game from them.
Yeah, and this one really did surprise me. I really thought Georgia was going to be legit, just like they were last year. I love Georgia's quarterback, Jake Fromm, basically just because I watched like a Netflix series where he was like featured on.
And
it.
He's the same age as us too, because
That
we're both 2 of the younger guys in the crew, and it's weird to see a guy that's our age. Like I'm sitting in statistics class, and Jake Fromm is like potentially playing for a national championship.
Yeah, he's going into LSU and playing in front of an 80,000 kids, and it's exactly the national championship. But it showed me a lot for LSU. I mean, LSU every year you see them have these just absolute men like on defense that are just unbelievably talented. But they have like Joe Burrow now, who's transferred from Ohio State, and he's brought like a new like layer to this offense where he's threw for 200 yards in the air, and he also rushed for 66 yards, and that's something they haven't had in the past.
Yeah, and that running game's going well too. Clyde Edwards-Helaire rushed for 145 yards in the game. But yeah, that LSU defense is what's keeping them in games. Devin White is looking like one of the best linebackers in the country right now, honestly. 13 total tackles and a solo tackle in that game against the Bulldogs. If LSU keeps this momentum rolling, like I've been saying, I think they can sneak a playoff appearance and maybe make some noise in there.
I don't think that was kind of like the underlying note I even had on this one was that. Are they still going to lose by like 2 or 3 scores to Alabama? I think so.
Right. We'll see when the time comes. And then just real quick, Oregon won in overtime against the Washington Huskies, 30-27. Very entertaining game all around. That loss to Stanford is going to end up being huge for Oregon when it comes to playoff time, but this is obviously a big win for them.
Yeah, and you mentioned it. That's something I had noted as well, is like that Stanford loss, and we know how like they really should have won that game. But Washington, I think we're kind of unsure on if they're really a good team or not, because we saw this weekend Auburn lost again. So they now have 3 losses. And Washington lost to Auburn, as we remember, in the first game, which didn't look like that bad of a loss at the start. But now it's looking like that might be a really bad loss, as it comes down the pipe.
Yeah.
But like Justin Herbert, this quarterback for Oregon, he's legit. I mean, the New York Giants have already sent scouts to 4 of his games.
Well,
like,
that's fair, just because Eli Manning is retired in 2016, so they need a quarterback at this point.
But I'm going to say this. I miss Chip Kelly there, just overall.
Oh, yeah,
and I mean,
100%.
Mario Cristobal, he's been doing a great job, but he's just no Chip Kelly.
Absolutely. That program definitely misses Chip Kelly. And I think college football in general misses having Chip Kelly around. Now, he is at UCLA right now, but it's not the same, just because he's not dominant, really.
And just I miss having the Oregon, and it looks like they're starting to come back. I mean, when you have a big win like against Washington, now they have another chance for another big win at Washington State this upcoming week. But it's just now that everyone's kind of taking like the whole Jersey thing, it's just not the same program.
No, absolutely.
It never will be in my eyes.
No. And that seems to be we touched on it. It seems to be a theme for this season that we don't really have a lot of clarity with these teams. A lot of these teams have 1 or 2 losses, and we need to get some more games and some more proof to see which teams are legit and which teams are not. But that's going to do it for us here on this week's edition of Every Day is Saturday. Coming up next week, Michigan State. We'll obviously talk about that game a lot for sure. But until next time, I'm still Kellen Voss.
And I'm Jerod Fattal. Thanks for tuning in.